Last night we revealed what life is like inside Yarls Wood, Britain's most notorious detention centre.
They're all animals, depraved animals.
We witnessed the shocking attitudes of guards towards the women in their care.
Some of those women in there, they're horrible. They're really, really horrible. They're evil. You know, and there's a lot of them that are really nice, right? But some of them, these black women, they're f***ing horrible, man.
Almost 400 women are held here, and the Home Office is clear. Yarls Wood is not a jail. 9 out of 10 of the women are failed asylum seekers who have committed no crime. But they are held alongside a small number of convicted criminals and clearly regarded as the same by many guards.
So is there an impact, like, with having normal asylum seekers and then these offenders? Yeah.
Do you know what? They're all the f***ing same. They're all fine. Like one bad apple what's all the others, isn't it? You've got someone that's quite savvy that's been in prison, and then they come here and they corrupt the good ones that don't really know them that well.
Yet during our time in Yarls Wood, it was clear that it's the ex-offenders who are responsible for some of the most serious incidents, smuggling illicit drugs into the centre. Crack cocaine, heroin and smoking paraphernalia were all discovered, as well as other extremely harmful substances. It's Saturday and 2 ambulances have been called after 2 ex-offenders have taken the legal high, spice. Guards seem unsurprised by the breach in security.
Hour from hell. Been smoking that spice stuff. And she's got on the floor, like, holding her head like her head's about to explode, shaking and shuddering on the floor. Did they find anything in their rooms? Yeah, look. Like a coffee jar, like. Where did you get all that from? Get it in easy, guys. Yeah.
On 3 occasions, the 2 offenders ended up here, the Kingfisher segregation unit.
When they ring Kingfisher, I'm talking to them both and I get them both a piece of paper. They both realised and looked at me. I said, what's that for? I said, write your mum's name and address down in the phone. What do you want that for? I said, where you? And I said, you're going to kill yourself. So I said, no need to know your next.
Serco said their staff work hard to prevent such substances from entering Yarls Wood, and that Class A drugs had only been found once in the past 12 months. In the case of the discovery of the legal high spice, Serco said the detainee had been given counselling. The revelations in our film prompted an emergency question in Parliament today, with anger from all sides of the House.
The Minister has been sent out to defend the indefensible, but she should go back and tell the Home Secretary to take some responsibility for a change, to stop pregnant women and victims of sexual violence being held in Yarls Wood at all, to hold a proper independent inquiry, because this is state-sanctioned abuse of women on the Home Secretary's watch, and it needs to end now.
We are all shocked and appalled by the evidence that we have seen, and action must be taken. And be under no illusions, this government is breathing down the neck of Serco. We want to see action. We want to see action swiftly.
Breathing down their necks today, yet it was just 3 months ago that the government handed Serco a new 8-year contract to run Yarls Wood worth £70 million. Yet some fear the way that new contract is working may make things worse. Serco has announced that because of government cuts, 68 posts at Yarls Wood have been scrapped. Of the guards who remain, some fear further cuts may make it impossible to care properly for the detainees.
I think they're putting power in the residents' hands, and they'll realise that we can't have a duty of care. Our duty is going to be running the centre, not having a duty of care towards the residents.
Serco have promised their own independent review and said again today that they would not tolerate poor conduct or disrespect from staff. As regards duty of care, they will provide sufficient operational staff to cater fully for the needs of residents.
How appalled are you that these are Yarls Wood staff? What are you doing about Serco, the company who run this unit? Should the contract be taken away?
Well, I'm appalled. I'm sickened. I'm disgusted. I think it's completely degrading what has been recorded. It is important that we have detention facilities, but everybody in them must be treated with dignity and respect at all times. So Serco have suspended 2 of the employees, one before the programme, one they were able to identify from the programme, and if they identify others, they will be action will be taken against them. Serco have launched an immediate investigation. We will see, obviously, what that investigation finds, but we reserve the right to take all or any action that we need to take. Well, we do actually have an inspection capability. We have a managed inspection of prisons and also these independent monitoring boards. Yarls Wood has been inspected, and we'll need to obviously ask the questions as well about, why those inspections, it may have been that the situation has changed, maybe down to start. I don't want to speculate because I don't want to underplay the importance of what has been exposed by the programme. As I say, detainees deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. If that is not happening, then I know that the Home Office will take action.
Can I just finally then ask you to explain why Britain needs to lock up these people at all, especially pregnant women, but all of them? They are immigrants, not criminals, on the whole. All countries don't do this. Why do we?
Well, I think we have a clear policy that actually people who don't have a right to remain in Britain, we do want to know where they are, and that is why the detention facilities exist, but they are very closely monitored. If in this case that has not happened, then that is something, as I say, that I think we all in government would be appalled by. But this is something that we have a policy on detaining people who have no right to be here.
Me now is the Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper. I mean, what has your reaction been to what we found?
Well, I think it's appalling. Your report has revealed there's some terrible circumstances of abuse. And the thing that concerns me most is that we had allegations of sexual abuse by Serco guards 18 months ago. I called repeatedly for an independent inquiry and the government's done nothing. And it's only taken until your report has come out for them to even look shocked and troubled. I think they should have acted a long time ago.
So would a new Labour government terminate Serco's contract?
Well, I think we would have to look in a lot of detail at that contract, but we also need an independent inquiry into actually what has been going on to get to the bottom of it.
If you're confident enough, as you have done today, to call it state-sanctioned abuse, why do you need an independent inquiry to do something about it?
Well, I think you have to get to the full story of what's been happening. I mean, your report's been important, but I think you need somebody to go in there, do a full independent investigation, and that should have been done before the government renewed the contract in November. So they've been repeatedly called on to do that inquiry, and then they renewed the contract.
Many people will say Labour have got a nerve, actually, because you gave Serco the contract in the first place back in 2007. And allegations have been swirling around Yarls Wood since it first opens its doors.
Well, there were certainly things that went wrong in the past, and I'm not going to defend them, because there were things that went wrong, for example, in the way that people were being taken to the Yarls Wood in the first place, and the conditions they were being held in. There were also, I think the coalition government was right to end the detention of children. So you're completely
Which was under
right,
Labour's
and
watch,
you're completely
wasn't it?
right, there were things that should have changed.
7,000 children were held under your watch.
And you're right, and I'm not, we're not disagreeing with you on that. However, in 2013, we had these very serious allegations of sexual abuse for the first time by Serco guards. And so my real concern is that this contract has been renewed. It's been given back to the same company that employed those guards before any independent investigation was being done into what kind of abuse was taking place.
The point is, many people would say it was the Labour government that created these incredibly lucrative contracts for organisations like Serco and G4S. And it's very easy now to say they shouldn't renew the contract, but you're not saying you would terminate it.
Well, I'm saying you do everything possible to get to the bottom of this and to do what is possible within the contract. What we don't know is what the terms are of the contract that the government signed. I think they shouldn't have signed that contract in November. I think they should have done this independent inquiry first, because you've got to get to the truth of that, and you've got to have some responsibility for the contracts that are signed. But I would go further as well. I think there are reforms that need to be made to the whole system, including...
Sorry, we don't have much time. Sorry to interrupt you, but would a Labour government close Yarls Wood then?
Well, I think first of all, you've got to stop pregnant women being held in Yarls Wood. That shouldn't be happening. And also, asylum seekers who have been raped or abused should not be being held in Yarls Wood. There is a case for detention as a temporary measure before people are deported, because, look, you have to do something about illegal immigration. But there's a serious concern that the number of people being detained in Yarls Wood has doubled since the election, and there's no explanation about why that's happened.
Yvette Cooper, thank you very much for coming.
The Home Office is launching an investigation into an incident at Yarls Wood Detention Centre after the prison's inspectorate expressed considerable concern. Detainees say a group of women were staging a peaceful protest when guards dressed in riot gear dragged them out with excessive force. Cordelia Lynch reports.
Last month, Channel 4 News went undercover in Yarls Wood Detention Centre. The footage exposed the contempt some guards showed to those inside.
They're all animals, depraved animals.
Now the independent HM Inspectorate of Prisons, which is carrying out an investigation into the Bedfordshire Centre, says a recent incident captured on CCTV has raised considerable concern. Detainees claim guards broke up a peaceful protest with excessive force 2 weeks ago, something Serco, the company which runs it, denies.
Detainees claim staff dragged them out and that one guard used the edge of his riot shield to hit them on their legs and feet.
The group were protesting about an asylum seeker who was about to be deported. I spoke to one woman by phone who says she was there.
And they start to shouting to us, hands up, and we don't know what's going on. And one, he started to beat us with his shield edge. And I think he can kill us for accident.
Serco said the only injury was a mild bruise to a resident's ankle.
Serco claimed the reason staff wore protective clothing was because they believed the women were armed with cutlery. They said there was a question over whether a guard used his shield appropriately and that he has now been suspended pending an investigation.
The Home Office says its professional standards unit will investigate. Bedfordshire Police said their inquiry found no offence had taken place. In a separate incident on Monday, Pinakin Patel, who was in his 30s, died after a suspected heart attack inside Yarls Wood. An investigation has been launched and his wife has been released.
She's on a shot, like physically we can say she's okay, but mentally condition she's feeling at the moment she's feeling maybe alone because Pinakin is gone.
Serco said the death was very sad. The police stated it is not being treated as suspicious.